Hello students, welcome to Gyanvia School of Education. I'm Dr. Sonia Kaur Bansal and today's my topic is questionnaire in methodology of educational research. As we have already discussed that there are many tools and techniques of collecting data and the questionnaire is one of the best considered tool which is easily available or it can be easily made by the students. So let's understand in today's topic questionnaire what it's all about. So today's learning objective would be to enable you students to understand the concepts, types and importance of questionnaire in research. And I would be really happy if you understand these concepts and types, importance of questionnaire in research and try to use them in your research work with effectiveness. So let's understand what is questionnaire and how it works in research process. So let's have a look. Now, students, questionnaires are one of the most popular methods of conducting research. So specifically when we are talking about educational research, so it is on the questionnaire that it is most popular method which is considered in educational research. So they provide a convenient way to gather information from target population. When we are doing any research from survey method or to know the facts about a particular population or sample, then questionnaire becomes the easiest way. So students just understand that questionnaire, they are cost effective and easy to construct and analyze. They do not take so much toil and so they are not very expensive. It takes your intelligence and hard work of a little time. So questionnaire is a planned self-reported form designed to elicit information through written or verbal responses of the subjects. In many research cases, we find that the researcher tries to investigate many aspects of a person or a situation. In that case, questionnaire is the best planned method to apply that. And after administering questionnaire, the information is easy to collect. So, in the words, a questionnaire, a research instrument used for data collection. It is a set of questions that may or may not provide with response alternatives which are to be answered by subject. So this is all about questions. As we all know that questions have so much importance in itself. So because even in normal class, if we just assume that there are no questions, so how can a good effective teaching can take place? So in the same way, we are talking about research data collection. So research data collection will be more effective if you are taking the responses of the respondents from the questionnaire, because they will be answering your questions in certain way, because the answers you might have options you might have given, you might have not given, but they will be answering your questions and they will be helpful in your data interpretation and explanation. So let's have a look on the different definitions. So a questionnaire is a structured instrument consisting of a series of data prepared by researcher that a research subject is asked to complete to gather data from individuals about knowledge, attitude, beliefs, and feelings. Yes, it is true. If you want to check anyone's knowledge or you want to check anyone's attitude, which is maybe negative, positive, or critical attitude, so you can judge that through questionnaire. Or maybe the beliefs of a particular community, particular society, and feelings of someone about someone. So these are the things that are not easily known until unless we ask the questions. So questionnaire is a structured instrument. Now the important thing here to understand is that it is called a structured instrument. Why it is called a structured instrument? So just understand, because whatever is your research work, you have some dimensions to collect the data. You have set fields, set areas, set dimensions, that in that way I'm going to collect my data. So the questions will be in that series only. After one dimension, you will be having another, then third. For example, if you want to check the adjustment of any person or on a sample, then there are various types of adjustments like health adjustment, social adjustment, family adjustment. So these type of adjustments will be having set of questions in a continuation form in your questionnaire, and then it will be easy for the researcher to interpret them and to analyze them after giving the statistical treatment of the raw scores. So next thing, this instrument is called a questionnaire, or sometimes a self-administered questionnaire, SAQ, self-administered questionnaire, when respondents complete the instrument themselves, usually in a paper and pencil format, but occasionally directly onto a computer. But nowadays, I would like to tell you that questionnaires are made through Google Form also, and it is the easiest way to get the respondents' responses through online mode. So when you are doing the research work of your dissertation also, you are free to frame your questionnaire through online mode, through different softwares. So a questionnaire is structured self-report paper and pencil instrument that a research subject is asked to complete. Now, let's understand, students, there are different types of questions that a researcher is supposed to use in the questionnaire according to his or her research work. So, let's understand them one by one. First of all, we are going to discuss about open format or open-ended questions. As its name suggests, students, that open format, something is opened, it is not closed. So open-ended questions are those questions which provide opportunity to the respondents to express their opinions and answers in their own way. It is not decided or pre-decided by the researcher, or it is not forced by the researcher to do the answers in a certain way. Now here the respondent's own aptitude, own expression is free. So open format questions have following characteristics. So just understand. First of all, there is no predetermined set of responses. As in many questions, you might have multiple choice options. So, but in that case, there is nothing like that. So there is no predetermined, something is not decided beforehand for the responses of the particular dimension. Now, these open format or open-ended questions provide true, insightful, and unexpected suggestions. Many times these type of questions are considered best because this is the only way. If I'm asking question to you, you would think and you would answer in your own way. But sometimes if I'm giving you options, okay, choose from 1, 2, or 3. What is your correct answer? Then maybe you are having fourth option in your mind, but I haven't given you that option. Then you are going to choose among the 3 options. So this is actually providing you most true, insightful, unexpected suggestions. So it is very good in its form. An ideal questionnaire contains open-ended questions towards the end of all questions that would ask the respondents about the suggestions for changes or improvements. Like, state your opinion about the quality of healthcare services in Punjab. So, student, this is the question that the observer is actually giving, or the researcher is giving to the respondents. Now, in that question, the person is supposed to mention his or her own opinion about the quality of healthcare services in Punjab. So, This is all about open-ended form questions. Now, students, let's have a look on closed format questions. So, what are the closed format questions? Now, as its name suggesting that these questions are closed somehow, and they are offering respondents a number of alternative replies, and out of those responses, the respondent has to choose the replies from which the subject must choose and one that most likely matches the appropriate answer. So, closed format questions have following characteristics. They facilitate easy statistical calculation of data, because once you are actually pre-deciding your answers, you are deciding the marks of each answer also, then those marks are going to help you in a very good way when you are going to give the statistical calculation to that raw score. So it provides easy preliminary analysis, that on the basis of particular options you are going to provide that to your research work. And moreover, it can be asked to different groups at different intervals. So once it is made, it is always be useful in to some extent for different groups. So it is facilitating efficiency also. So it is about closed format questions. Now, students, let's see closed format questions could be of the following types, subtypes I'm giving to you. Dichomous questions, multiple choice questions, cafeteria questions, rank order questions, contingency questions, rating questions, importance questions, Likert questions, bipolar questions, matrix questions. Now you have to understand all these 10 type of closed format questions in a very clear way. These are all the types of closed format where the answers are pre-decided and the respondent has to choose one out of those responses, and only your statistical calculation will be made upon that. All right, students. So let's understand all these type of questions one by one. So first of all, we are understanding dichotomous questions. So what are dichotomous questions? So these questions require the respondents to make a choice between two responses. Now, two responses such as yes, no, male, female, two responses are only given in a question, and the respondent is supposed to choose one out of them. Now, see the example question. Have you ever been hospitalized? So, it is definite. The answer might be yes or might be no. So, one has to be there. So, understand dichotomous questions have two options, two responses of answers, and the respondent has to make a choice out of them. All right. Now, next is multiple choice questions. As it is suggesting by its name that multiple means there are various choices are given to respondent. So these questions require respondents to make a choice between more than two responses alternatives. So what is happening here? Just understand in that way, which of the following disease is sexually transmitted. Now, four options are given to the respondents, and like DM, hypothyroidism, syphilis, HTN. So these are the four options, and respondent has to make a choice. Multiple choices are given, but respondent has to choose one choice only. So this is something related to multiple choice questions where there are many choices to give to the responders given on that way. Now, next is cafeteria questions. So now why this name is given to these type of questions, you will be understanding after understanding what's in these questions. So Just understand first, and I'm going to explain how it is named cafeteria. So first of all, understand these are special type of MCQs that ask the respondents to select a response that most closely corresponds to their views. So just understand there are uh, different types of MCQs. Okay, first thing. So now, for example, so you just understand what do you think about hormone replacement therapy? Now, the simple question is that what do you think? Now, the answers are varying. It is dangerous. It should be avoided. The one should be cautious while using it. I'm uncertain about my views. I'm uncertain about my views. So these are some type of questions, some type of responses given to you. Now what you are going to do, these questions ask respondents to rank their responses from most favorable to least favorable. Now I'm going to explain why this type of questions are given the name cafeteria. Now, you must have experienced going to cafeteria, and what do you do there? You have different type of coffees there. And not only coffees, you will get many more things there. But according to your choice, you rank different coffees accordingly. Most probably, you are not liking that particular espresso coffee, which I'm liking it. So you are just ranking your favorite thing according to you. Number one is this, number two is this, three is this. But the another respondent is choosing number three as his first choice. So that's why this is called cafeteria question. Now you can see the example of next question. What according to you is most important for your life? So rank from most favorable to least favorable. And believe me, students, that different students, different respondents will actually react on this question differently. They will give different choices from first to fourth. So money, education, family, health. What is your ranking from most favorable to least favorable? So these type of questions are called cafeteria questions. Now, contingency questions. Now, what is contingency questions? So let's understand a question that is asked further only if the respondent gives a particular response to previous question. If you are asking a question to your respondent and the respondent is giving the answer, then further questions are framed. And these type of questions are called contingency questions. Now see, for example, the researcher is asking, are you stressed? Then the answer is no, or it may be yes. Now, if the respondent is giving the answer yes, then further it may be asked, if yes, what are the reasons? So this is called contingency question, which is actually seeking further information. So contingency questions are seeking further information. Now next is about rating questions. I told you students in my previous lecture about rating scale. So rating is you are giving your preferences, you are giving your ranks, you are giving your choices. So you are rating something, someone, particular situation. So these are the questions where you ask respondents to judge something along an order dimension. It should be very clear that you are going to ask it in an ordered way. So respondent is asked to rate a particular issue on a scale that ranges from poor to good. So they may provide a number of choices. For example, how you rank the education quality in India. So 1, 2, 3, 4 rates are given, and 1 stands for good, 2 for fair, 3 for poor, and 4 for very poor. Now the respondent has to make a choice. For example, if I tick good, how many rank, how you rank the education quality in India, and according to me, it's good. So the ranks are accumulated, and accordingly, statistical calculations are done. Now, next is about importance questions. So, what are the importance questions, students, and how they are so important? Now, in this, respondents are asked to rate the importance of a particular issue on a rating scale of 1 to 5. 5-point rating scale is chosen, and this helps to know that the things or issues which we have taken that are important to a respondent or not. Basically, it is actually clarifying the significance of a particular thing or issue to the respondents. So when we want to know the importance of a particular thing, then you have to apply these type of questions. Now, these are on general assumptions also. Now, for examples, exercising every day is dash for the health. And trust me, nobody is going to give you the same answer because everybody has his own priority and has set importance in a different way. So, first is standing for extremely important. So, how do you feel? How much it is important to you? So, exercising every day is extremely important in number one of option. Then number 2, 3, 4, 5. As I've told you, there are 1 to 5 scale. Number 2, very important. 3, somewhat important. 4, not very important. 5th, not at all important. So these are the types of responses which we require from the respondents for a research purpose. So, so you will just come to know about the sequence in a very good way, that how the particular thing or concept or an issue is being considered important by the sample or the society. Now, next is about Likert questions. Now, Likert questions help to know how strongly the respondent agrees with a particular statement. Now, this is to know about your agreement or disagreement on particular issue, thing, or a situation or an incident which is happening in the society or maybe around you. So these questions help to assess how respondents feel towards a certain issue or services. So Likert questions are actually again given on 5-point scale, where the strongly agree, uncertain, disagree, or strongly disagree. These type of options are placed in front of respondents, and the respondent has to choose according to his own feeling what the respondent feels strongly. All right. So, for example, this community is a good place to raise children. Now, many respondents will be having different idea, but to what extent, how strongly you are responding? Strongly agree, uncertain, disagree, or strongly disagree. So Likert question, once again, just understand, student, in nutshell, these type of questions help you to know how strongly the respondent agrees with a particular statement. This is all about agreement or disagreement. All right. So this is very helpful in collecting research data as well. Now, students, next is the type bipolar questions. Now, bipolar questions are questions that have two extreme answers. Extreme answers, it means that respondent has to make his or her response between two opposite ends of the scale. Now, what is your balance of preference here? I like going for walks or I like going watching movie. So, two different extreme answers are given to the respondents. So, when you just find in a question that there are different extreme questions, extreme answers. So, in that condition, this would be a bipolar questions. Okay, then opposite scales will be assessed and statistical calculation will be done accordingly. Now, this next type is matrix questions. So, what is matrix question, students? Matrix question include multiple choice questions and identical responses categories that are assigned. So, multiple choice questions, as it's suggesting with its name, that there are many questions and identical responses categories are assigned. So questions are placed one under another, forming a matrix. So response categories are placed along the top and the list of questions down the side. Now, for example, you just can see, please let us know your weekly schedule of the following. So, in this type of question, it is understood that the researcher is willing to know the weekly schedule of a particular person or or an institution. So matrix question needs answer one after another and in a form of matrix. And how it is done, just have a look. Now see, gym weight training, aerobics, eating dinner, lunch, drink alcoholic beverages, and this is actually how the person is going to do. Now the answers are required in one after another format. So weekly format we have taken Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Now you have to fill this as a respondent. You have to fill what was asked in earlier question. Please let us know your weekly schedule of the following. Extreme left side, we have given some dimensions, components of particular thing we want to know, that how much gym weight training or do you do or not on Monday. If it is yes, then okay, fine, it is yes. Then aerobics, do you do on Monday or Tuesday or which day? Then eating dinner, lunch, is there any day which you skipped your lunch and dinner? So all the days are actually demanding responses from you. Now, next, guidelines for designing a good questionnaire. So, we have understood the different types of questions, students, and we have understood that questionnaire is a very good tool in the hands of a researcher. And by applying the questionnaire, very difficult concepts, complex situations can also be answered in a certain smoother way. But even then, we have some guidelines for designing a good questionnaire, how you should frame when it is coming up to like preparing self-made test. So general points which has to be taken in care, they are as following. So number one is about the questionnaire must be developed exactly in accordance with the study objectives. So what you are planning to study in your research, how you are going to see your variables. Your objectives must be very clear first of all in your research work. Only then you will be able to frame that questionnaire in a very good way. So it is important for all of you to understand that objectives are not only important for doing the research work, but they are also important for deciding the correct tool. And if you have decided questionnaire as your tool, then all the objectives must be covered in that. And secondly, the questionnaire should be begin with the instructions for the respondents to provide the responses. Sometimes it is seen that a very good questionnaire is framed and very good items are also included. But in the front page or the cover page, the questionnaire is not having proper instructions as how much time is required to fulfill this questionnaire, what age group it belongs to, and what important things you want from your respondent to fill particularly. So these type of instructions or many more important questions you have to write very clearly for the respondents so that they will be providing their accurate responses to you, and it will be definitely beneficial for your research work. So thirdly, the drafting of the questionnaire should be concise, precise and brief. Because students, the lengthy questionnaires may lead to boredom amongst respondents. It is not considered that in a questionnaire you are actually giving so many questions, 40, 50, 60 questions. The respondent is not supposed to have so much time. We generally assume it. And we keep the length precise, and moreover not only you are keeping the number of the questions in your according to your objectives and less in number, but also the framing of questions should be like that it is understandable in one reading. It should not be in a complex sentence. It should not be framed in a such a difficult vocabulary that you are not understanding it. If you yourself know not understanding, then how can your respondents will understand? So drafting is must, and choose those simple vocabulary which is general vocabulary and easily understandable by the respondents. I'm talking about in any of the medium, either it is Hindi or English or any other language. So don't create that boredom among your respondents, because you have to collect your data, and if your respondent is feeling fatigue during filling your questionnaire, then your half of the objective is actually not fulfilled. So take care of it. Then fourthly, we are talking about the language of the question should be according to the respondent's knowledge about a particular knowledge. So it should be like that. Maybe you are very much a scholar and you are having a good command over your language, but it should be questionnaires language should be like that which from which your respondent belongs to. So take care of the language. It should not be very difficult. Then fifthly, questions outside the respondent's experience should not be asked. What they have not experienced, if you are asking them, so definitely you are not going to get those answers. And then your data collection would be some sort of incomplete category. So always ask the questions outside the responses. Experience should not be asked. Take care of it. Then number 6 is about in asking questions about past events. When something has already happened, too much reliance should not be placed on the respondent's memory. So sometimes it is happening that we are relying everything on respondent's memory, and it may create an error in your data collection. So take care of this thing also. Then next is about questions which are likely to lead to bias in the respondent should be avoided. So biasness should be not there, that you are favoring a particular category or community or a religion. This type of question should not be framed. Next is question should be very clear and simple. Avoid professional jargons. Yes, jargons are not good to use in questionnaire. You might be master of good vocabulary, but your respondents may not be. So in that case, if you want to have a good data collection and if you want to have a good research work with good findings, proper findings, so you just make a clear and simple questionnaire which is easy to fulfill. As I have explained you, lengthy questions which is not understandable actually do not attract the attention of respondent. And in that condition, the respondent tries to tick the answer or click the answer without even reading that. And it is not good for the researcher's point of view if respondent is doing that. So make it very clear, simple, precise, short and sweet. So which is fulfilling your objective and which is based on respondents' knowledge. Mental level must be considered of the respondents and respondents' experience should not be asked outside of that questions. Now next is as far as possible, open-ended questions should be avoided. Now, it is good that you are having a good point of opinion or expression on some issues or event when you are asking open-ended questions, students. But it is also leading to the analysis problem. How you are going to give that, and then qualitative analysis is required, and it is not everyone's cup of tea. So as far as possible, just avoid them, and close-ended questions should be included because they have set number of answers and set predetermined answers. And on the basis of those, your study will be more and more objective and you will be getting more proper answers. So it will be more appropriate for your study. Then avoid questions with difficult concept which are not easily understandable for respondents. So, the concepts which are not easily understandable, you must not ask from your respondents. So, difficult concepts such as you are asking something from your students apart from their mental level and they find it difficult. So, it would be, if it would be understandable, your purpose would be failed. Then next is about controversial and ambiguous questions should be avoided. There are many points on which controversies can be created, or ambiguous or double meaning questions should not be asked in the questionnaire, because it will be only leading to some sort of problems while you will be collecting data. May you will not be able to fulfill the queries of your respondents, but in that case your research work might be disturbed. So don't prepare such questions which are controversial in nature or ambiguous, which are not easily understandable. What do you want to ask? Respondent must have a clear idea. Okay, fine. My investigator or the questionnaire giver wants to ask this thing from me. Only then you are going to have proper responses. So the structure of the questionnaire should be according to the form in which the responses are to be recorded. Now cross-check the respondents by asking the same information into different ways. So a mail questionnaire should be accompanied by introduction to the study, purpose and directions to fill the questionnaire. If you are doing mail of it, nowadays open Google Forms are introduced and you are just taking the questionnaire through forms online mode. So in that case also, just write in a very brief what is your study and purpose and directions. So the respondent is actually clear about your research work and he or she is readily fulfilling that questionnaire which you are sending to him or her. So abrupt ending of the questions and questionnaire should be avoided. like the responses are being recorded, and all of a sudden you have closed the questionnaire. It should not be. It should be done in a very proper sequenced manner. Now, what should be sequence of the questions which I was just talking about? So, how should be the sequence of the questions? Just understand it in that way. There should be logical sequence of the questions, students, in the whole questionnaire. Researcher must ensure that the answer to question is not influenced by previous questions. So it is very necessary for the researcher to frame the questions in such a manner that it follows logical sequence. If one incident is happening after another, so definitely first part will be asked first and second part will be asked later on. So there must be some logic when you are asking questions. And it is not like that when it is not good, also when your previous question is influenced from the answer of the another question. So take care of this thing. Then question should flow from more general to more specific. This is the basic principle of teaching also. We teach accordingly, like more general to more specific. So when we are actually giving a questionnaire to our respondents, they also like to go from general to specific. All of a sudden, if you're asking specific questions without be making the grounds on a general platform, you will not be having the proper or appropriate answers of that particular dimension. So question should be flow from least to most sensitive. All right. Then sandwich theory states that a questionnaire should generally start with a demographic profile of subjects, followed by specific questions according to the objectives of the study. So when you are deciding the questions, first of all, ask about demographic profile. What you want to ask: name of the respondent, age, gender, and what is his particular interest area or qualification, his address, marital status, or any social economic status. What you want to ask, it should be very much in a clear sequence form. It should not be like that you are asking the important questions first and at last you are going to the general question that what are your qualifications. So the sequence would be definitely disturbed. And moreover, you must follow all the objectives of the questions which are decided in your research work. Now, questions construction: use statements which can be interpreted in same way by all subjects. Use statements where persons that have different opinions or trait will give different answers. Use only one aspect of the construct in which you are interested. So avoid asking double-barreled questions which contain two distinct ideas or concepts. So construction should be like that. It should be conveyed to all subjects. So now, for example, it is being asked by the researcher, are you satisfied with pay and fringe benefits? So avoid leading, loaded, ambiguous, and long questions. I've always to tell you that prepare precise, brief, clear, simple, short and sweet questions which are easy to attract the attention of the respondent. And I told you why it should be. If you're preparing very heavy questions, long questions, and it is not clear in itself, what do you want to ask? And you have made it mandatory to fill it. So without just looking at the questions properly, the respondent may choose any of the option according to his or her own choice. And it will affect the quality of your research work. because your respondents have not given the responses in an appropriate manner. And the cause is just you have not properly constructed the questions. All right, students? Now, questions researcher must consider before developing a question. Now, when you are developing a questionnaire, so these type of questions you must ask to you or any other when who is to whom you may be assisting for preparing the questionnaire. So just ask from yourself. If I'm talking about the sample, who are you going to ask? Just make it clear. How are you going to ask them? It describes my method. Then what are you going to ask them? It is actually the questionnaire on which it is based. And the result, what will you do when with information? After collecting the information, what you are supposed to do that? And the cost, how much do you want to pay for answer? Will there be any sort of remuneration or anything? If no, then just keep it away. Or the time scale, by when do you need information? It should be clear. By what time you need the information very clearly. All right, students, so take care of these things when you prepare a questionnaire. You must consider your sample, your method, your questionnaire, the result, the cost, the time scale. All these things must be given proper attention by the researcher for the respondent's view. Now avoid negative and double negative questions. We do not encourage negativity at any level. So when you are researching something, do not create that type of questionnaire which is so much negative in its nature. Use positive statements and do not make assumptions about respondents. Sometimes it is with the case of some researchers that they assume my respondents are not going to give this response. So do not make such type of assumptions. You just prepare your questionnaire according to your objectives, according to your variables, so that only you are going to make a good questionnaire. So don't be the victim of assumptions. Use clear and comprehensible wordings. Use correct spellings, grammar, and punctuations. Very important for all of you students to remember that use correct spellings, grammar, and punctuation. Do not make grammar mistakes. It gives you a very bad impression of your questionnaire. Now, methods of questionnaire administer, how we are going to administer the questionnaire on the particular sample. So a questionnaire may be administered with following methods which are very useful. So first is postal, phone, electronic, personally administered. So nowadays we are using more and more electronic mode, but you must know all the four methods which are very much popular. So first is postal. You are sending your questionnaire to your respondents through post, and it will cost you very low, no, not labor intensive. Anonymity is there. So postal questionnaire is also there, and you can send them by post, and then you will receive them also. But it is sometimes very hectic also, as it takes so much time. Then telephonic answers are also received in the questionnaire. It is high speed rapport with respondent you are maintaining. Detailed questions you are asking. High response rate is given. Then electronic. It is low cost, high speed, anonymity is there, not labor intensive is there. Just with a click on email, you can send your questionnaire to number of respondents you want to. So just through Google form or through email, you can send your questionnaire and then you can receive it back. and it is very popular nowadays. With the help of technology, you can collect your data very easily. Then personally administered, you go at a personal place and you can ask the detailed questions, and high response rate will be there. And when you are asking personally, then the questions are actually answered in a desired way. Now, what are the advantages of questionnaires? So questionnaires are cost effective. It is not asking you for so much, doing so much expenditures. So just your brain will include in it, and you will be preparing a good questionnaire on the basis of your objectives of your research work. Then they are easy to analyze also. You have already set some close-ended questions, and you have set your answers. They will be easy to analyze. They require less time and energy to administer. Questionnaire offer the possibility to anonymity. They reduce bias as interviewer not present. Questionnaire not are used for large sample size. Questionnaire are less intrusive than phone or face-to-face interview. But there are some disadvantages also, students. So let's have a look upon them. So questionnaire are not suitable for all. Example, some children may not fulfill your questionnaire. Blind and illiterate people cannot fulfill that. Low response rate would be there. Questionnaire sent by email may be filled by someone other than the intended person. This may be also the advantage. So questionnaire provide only superficial information. Probing of response is not possible. There are chances of misinterpretation, and people can lie and answer the question vaguely. These are some references from your purpose, and I hope you have understood. Whenever you go through my video again, you can just check these references for more study. So I hope you have understood today's topic, and you have understood the importance of questionnaire tool in research process. Always remember, students, that prepare questionnaires in that way that your research work objectives are fulfilled. All right. So till then, take care and have a nice time. See you in the next class, students. Have a safe time.